Welcome to the Weekend Sustainability Report. In this presentation, we cover different news related to social progress and environmental sustainability every weekend. So let's get started. Our first news comes in from the United Kingdom as UK business leaders urge the Prime Minister to build a resilient economy ahead of nationwide address. A group of major British business leaders, including top executives from Iceland, Ben& Jerry's and The Body Shop, have today called on the government to embrace a green recovery as it prepares to take tentative steps to ease the nationwide lockdown. An open letter signed by 18 businesses, more than 2 dozen environmental groups, and a number of public figures is urging Prime Minister Boris Johnson to build a more resilient economy in the wake of the coronavirus crisis by investing in green infrastructure, technology, and skills, and ruling out bailouts of polluting industries that fail to present credible decarbonization plans. Entrepreneurs and businessmen taking this initiative is rare, and this is definitely a way forward. The information source for that news was businessgreen.com. The second update comes in from Africa as female genital mutilation has now been outlawed in Sudan. This is a big news and it's a victory for women, Africa, and humanity. According to the New York Times, Sudan's new government has outlawed the practice of female genital mutilation, a move hailed as a major victory by women's rights campaigners in a country where the often dangerous practice is widespread. Girls get cut because of a widespread inhuman cultural belief that it is essential for girls' reputations and future marriage prospects. Quoting the BBC, in 29 countries in Africa and the Middle East, the practice is still being widely carried out, despite the fact that at least 24 of these countries have legislation or some form of decrees against FGM meaning female genital mutilation. And under the new amendment in Sudan, anyone who performs FGM either inside a medical establishment or elsewhere faces 3 years imprisonment and a fine. There are fears that the practice could be driven underground, but the new government seems to be progressive and genuinely against FGM. Hopefully, this will boost the possibilities of eradicating this inhuman practice all over the world. The third news comes in from Total, which is a French multinational oil and gas company, as it promises to go net zero by 2050. Total has committed to delivering net zero emissions by mid-century, becoming the latest European oil major to significantly enhance its decarbonization strategy, even as the industry is rocked by historically low oil prices. The plans are in line with the strategy to develop Total as a broad, clean energy company as it has established itself to be a major renewables and clean tech investor in recent years. It is always nice to see oil and gas companies opt for eco-friendly mechanisms. The fourth and final news comes in again from businessgreen.com and it is related to climate change, and it's a sad news that in the next 50 years, 1/3 of the population will be living in a desert-like unlivable situation if greenhouse emissions continue to rise. The study warns that rapid heating could mean that by 2070, 3.5 billion people would live outside the climate niche in which humans have thrived for 6,000 years. The rapid temperature rise combined with projected global population changes mean about 30% of the world's projected population will live in places with an average temperature above 29 degrees Celsius within 50 years if greenhouse gas emissions continue to increase. These climate conditions are currently experienced by just 0.8% of the global land surface, mostly in the hottest parts of the Sahara Desert. But by 2070, the conditions could spread to 19% of the planet's land area. So when we listen to these kind of news, it might overwhelm us and cause us to be less motivated because everything seems to be very intense and out of hand. But then if you think about it, we've not even done the least that we can do, and that is consciously talking about these topics. If we look at social media, we don't really see real conversations about climate change and global warming. And then if you think about it, this is a big issue. This is going to decide the fate of this planet. And for some reason, we hesitate to talk about it. So let's start talking about these topics so that it gradually becomes a priority for friends, then eventually the communities, organizations, and finally the government. We've got nothing to lose. Talk about it, update a status, read an article, share the article on climate change and global warming and its solutions. This is just going to create a lot of awareness, and yeah, that's a good thing. So we can start by doing that. With that, we come to an end of the second episode of the Weekend Sustainability Report by the Revolution Project. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back with the third episode next weekend. Wishing you all a safe and healthy time ahead. Take care and keep the sustainability conversation alive. This is Ayush, your host, signing off from Weekend Sustainability.